What up, y'all? This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. Um, I did a series about the non-governor positions on the California June 2nd ballot, and I decided to compile all of those and upload them to YouTube. So if you check out my YouTube channel, you can get the entire stream of all the non-governor positions from state superintendent of public instructions all the way up to Secretary of State. So check it out, and then I'm gonna have more content for you coming in June. So thanks, guys, and enjoy the program. What up, y'all? This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. I wanted to talk to you today about the upcoming election here in California, taking place Tuesday, June 2nd. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about the governor's race, but I wanted to go into some of the other positions that we're going to be voting on in this June 2nd ballot. So the first thing I wanted to go over this week was the Superintendent of Public Instruction. So I got some notes here. First off, the Superintendent of Public Instruction is a nonpartisan position, meaning they cannot use party affiliation on their official ballot designations, nor can they receive official party endorsements. The Superintendent of Public Instruction's authority comes from Article 9 of the California Constitution, as well as the California Educational Code, which gives them the authority to execute the policies of the California Department of Education, which itself is in charge of all California public schools. The ways in which the California Superintendent of Public Instruction and the DOE measure the success of individual schools is through a series of metrics referred to as the Local Control Funding Formula, which was signed into California law back in 2013. The California Superintendent of Public Instruction's roles and responsibilities per their website are holding local educational agencies accountable for students' achievement in all programs and for all groups of students, building local capacity to enable all students to achieve state standards, expanding and improving a system of recruiting, developing, and supporting teachers that instills excellence in every classroom, be it preschool through adult school, providing statewide leadership that promotes the effective use of technology to improve teaching and learning, increasing efficiency and effectiveness in administration of kindergarten through grade 12 education, including student record keeping and good financial management practices, providing broader and more effective communication among the home, school, district, county, and state, establishing and fostering systems of school, home, and community resources that provide the physical, emotional, and intellectual support that each student needs to succeed, advocating for additional resources and flexibility, and providing statewide leadership that promotes good business practice so that California schools can target their resources to ensure success for all students, and improving the effectiveness and efficiency of the department. Our current Superintendent of Public Instruction is Tony Thurmond, and he's been at this role since 2019. According to his information page, Thurmond has guided the California public school system through COVID-19. He oversaw the implementation of the nation's first statewide universal meals program. He oversaw a digital divide task force to help address the challenges of virtual instruction during the pandemic, especially in rural communities. He secured a $4.13 billion investment towards community school strategies with the California Community Schools Partnership Program. He oversaw the establishment of the Family Engagement Union to help empower students' families with several social support programs, as well as the Educator Effectiveness Block Grant for education employees that interact with pupils. And he oversaw the implementation of universal pre-K, as well as oversaw robust literacy intervention programs for students. Additionally, according to a 2022 article from Cal Matters, Thurmond had raised more than 10 times as much money as all of his competitors combined. So for this role, we have 8 candidates. Their captions will be on their ballots, but hopefully this information will help you to be able to tie the position along with what the candidate says in their caption to make for you to be a better voter, essentially. I provided a link to the California voting guide in the notes of this clip. If I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm not perfect. Otherwise, I'm going to be back next week covering the Board of Equalization. So have a great week, y'all. What up, y'all? This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. Coming today with another review of some of the lesser discussed elected positions that will show up on the June 2nd California voter ballot. Today we'll be reviewing the California State Board of Equalization, a position coming up for election this June 2nd. The board, which consists of 5 members, are responsible for the oversight of the assessment practices of the 58 county tax assessors in California. Although this may seem like one single large omnibus responsibility, there's specifics to the responsibilities that deserve mention. For example, the Board of Equalization is responsible for the training and monitoring of county tax assessors, as well as a clearinghouse for property tax relief under various propositions, to name a couple of the long list of responsibilities under their purview. I wanted to focus on the property tax thing a little bit. This is the primary source of income for the state, according to the BOE website. And a couple things I wanted to touch on. I recently finished a book about the Japanese Meiji Restoration. And one of the things that the book mentioned was that the main financier of the modernization of the Japanese economy in the 19th century was the land taxes put upon the peasantry. Now, I want to reference my coverage of Eric Swalwell's last campaign speech in Sacramento before we all found out that he thought with the wrong head. He mentioned that increasing revenue would be an important component to building up the California economy. Knowing that whoever takes the governorship may have similar goals, they will probably try to achieve them by working closely with the Board of Equalization, meaning that the board is going to be influential on how the state uses your property taxes to increase revenue. I say all this to stress the importance of knowing who you're voting for your district's Board of Equalization member. The Board of Equalization also assesses the property taxes for regulated railroads and specific public utilities, such as gas and electric companies, railroad companies, telegraph and telephone companies, inter-county pipeline and water infrastructure, so things that are 2 and more counties, and private railroad cars. The board used to be responsible for alcohol tax and the tax on insurers in the state. However, that responsibility has moved to the California Tax and Fee Administration for both alcohol and insurer tax, with the insurer tax including the Department of Insurance and the State Controller's Office. Finally, there are 4 geographical districts in California, each of which with their own board member, and the 5th membership position is occupied by the California State Controller, which we will be going into in a later post. I'm personally in District 2, which extends from Oregon to San Bernardino County, and from Nevada to Solano County. All 4 of the board positions are up for election this June, meaning that every voter in the state of California will have to choose a Board of Equalization member on their June 2nd ballot. I'll link some information in the captions. Let me know if I got anything wrong, and I will see you next week for a state insurance commissioner. Thanks, California. What up, y'all? This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills, back with another in our series about the non-governor positions on the California June 2nd ballot. Today we're going to be covering the California Attorney General. The California Attorney General is described as the state's top cop, insofar as they are the state's top lawyer and state's representative in legal matters. So when you read a court proceeding in our state with the phrase, the state of California verse at the top, that would be the Attorney General. Per the California AG's website, the department holds the responsibility of representing the people of California in criminal and civil matters before trial court, appellate courts, and the Supreme Court of California and the United States. They serve as the legal counsel to state officers and, with few exceptions, to state agencies and boards and commissions. They assist district attorneys, local law enforcement, and federal and international criminal justice agencies in the administration of justice. They strengthen California's law enforcement community by coordinating statewide narcotics enforcement efforts, supporting criminal investigations, and providing forensic science services, identification and information services, and telecommunication support. They also manage programs and special projects to detect the crackdown on fraudulent, unfair, and illegal activities that victimize consumers or threaten public safety. The California AG and the California Department of Justice's mission goals are to enforce and apply all of our laws fairly and impartially, to ensure justice, safety, and liberty for everyone, to encourage economic prosperity, equal opportunity, and tolerance, and to safeguard California's human, natural, and financial resources for this and future generations. Democrat Rob Bonda is our current California AG, who will be running for re-election during this election cycle for a second term, which would be his final term per California term limits on this position. Some notable California attorney generals include a list of familiar names such as Jerry Brown, Kamala Harris, and Javier Becerra. Judging by the names on this list, it's probably like a springboard for higher elected positions in the state, as the Attorney General tends to be a publicly prominent position given their relationship with public safety. That's a quick rundown of the California Attorney General position. If public safety is a priority to you as a voter, I strongly recommend looking into the candidates for this position and their policies. I'm Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills, and I will see you next time for Treasure, I think it is. See you then. There is no other task in any office in the state of California except the governor that has such significant power and the necessity to use the power to regulate the industry. This was a quote from John Garamendi, the first elected California Insurance Commissioner, in a conversation with Cal Matters in March of this year. Howdy y'all, this is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills, continuing my series on the non-governor positions appearing on your California governor ballot June 2nd. The California Insurance Commissioner oversees the California Department of Insurance, which itself oversees the regulation of all insurance products and services in the state of California, with the exception of health plans and health insurance, which is regulated by the California Department of Managed Health Care. The California Department of Insurance will rate, review, and improve insurance rates statewide. They issue licenses to insurance companies, oversee their solvency in paying claims, and can intervene in the operation of insurance companies to protect policyholders. They can intervene in the cancellation or non-renewal of policies, which was used in the case of the LA wildfires. They perform market conduct reviews of insurance companies. They investigate insurance fraud. They enforce fines and penalties. They're the insurance regulatory authority, and they appoint board members to various insurance boards present in the California insurance market. According to the California Department of Insurance's website, their mission is consumer protection. The position of insurance commissioner moved from a governor-appointed position to an elected position in 1991, following the passage of Proposition 103 in 1988, which required the CDI to give prior approval for automobile, homeowner, and casualty insurance rates, as well as other consumer protection-related requirements. The California Insurance Commissioner position has been controversial in the recent past. Although the lawsuits between State Farm Insurance and the CDI, which was causing the non-renewal of policies, has been settled, California homeowners should still expect rates to climb. There's a ton I missed on this one. It's a very interesting position. I highly recommend researching it, especially if you're a homeowner. Thanks for your time, guys. I'm Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. Howdy, y'all. This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. Back with another in my series on the non-governor positions on the California June 2nd ballot. Today we will be reviewing the California State Treasurer. The California State Treasurer could be described as the state's accountant, insofar as they are the state's lead asset manager, banker, and financier, as well as holding memberships in several state authorities, boards, and commissions. The state treasurer is in charge of CalPERS and the teacher version called CalSTRS. They manage the state's pooled money investment account, which invests on behalf of state and local jurisdictions to help them manage their fiscal affairs. They invest in public works projects like schools, parks, recreation, and environmental projects. They commission the financing of tax exemptions. They award tax credits for things like affordable housing as a member of the board of the California Housing Finance Agency. They oversee the public savings plan collective known as Financial Security for All. Our current treasurer, Fiona Ma, is term limited. However, you will see her again on the June 2nd ballot as she is running for the position of lieutenant governor. During her tenure in this position, she has had 6 housing and development goals. which, considering the core principles of her tenure were kind of character driven, things around morality, ethics, stuff like that, these seem to be the most accurate policy statements I could find on the website. The development goals are to increase housing production, to contain cost and increase efficiency in the use of resources that we have for housing production and economic development, incentivize and spur new technology, increase opportunities for people of color in the development and investment space, empower people to be part of the development happening in our communities, and increase opportunity for wealth building for all individuals. That's all I got on that subject. I'll be back next week to cover State Controller. I'm Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer. I'll see you next time. Howdy, y'all. This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills. Back in another on my series about the non-governor positions on the California June 2nd ballot. Today we're going to be reviewing the California State Controller position. The Controller is the chief fiscal officer for the state, managing the disbursement of the state's financial resources. According to the government website, their responsibilities include safeguarding financial properties until claimed by the rightful owner, independently auditing state agencies that use state funds, administering the payroll system, serving on 70 different boards and commissions ranging from public land management to crime victim compensation, managing the property tax postponement program, overseeing financial oversight entities such as the Financial Tax Board and the Board of Equalization, among their many other responsibilities. Our current controller is Malia Cohen, who is currently running for re-election in her position. Some of the things she's done according to her campaign website include the approval of an $804 million bond for student housing. She's been a proponent of prevailing wage on labor agreements and has raised the highest minimum wage in the country, as well as several other initiatives. Cohen is the first African-American woman to hold the position, although other familiar notable names have held this role, such as Gray Davis and Betty Yee. That's all I got for you today, California. Our next episode and our final in the series will be about the Secretary of State. I'm Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer. I'll see you next time. Howdy, y'all. This is Will Forsyth, your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills, back with another in my series on the non-governor positions on the June 2nd California ballot. Today, we will be reviewing the California Secretary of State. According to their website, the California Secretary of State's role is making government more transparent and accessible in the areas of elections, business, political campaigning, legislative advocacy, and historical records. Some of the ways they go about accomplishing this is through serving as the state's chief elections officer, implementing electronic filing and internet disclosure of campaign and lobbyist financial information, maintaining business filings, commissioning notaries public, operating the Safe at Home confidential address program, maintaining the Domestic Partners and Advanced Healthcare Directive registries, safeguarding the state archives, and serving as a trustee of the California Museum. Our current Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, Ph.D., is running as an incumbent and was elected in 2022 as the first Black Secretary of State in the state of California. Some of her key positions while in office include protecting voter privacy, making vote by mail permanent, expanding voting rights for people on parole or probation, protecting election officials, and improving voter outreach. So that's it. That's the entire series on the non-governor positions. June 2nd is the time to vote. It's your guys' responsibility as Californians now to decide what you want your future to look like. My name's Will Forsyth. I'm your friendly neighborhood news influencer for the Sierra Foothills, and I will see you guys in June.